This is the sucking glasses experiment. Now, for a sucking glasses experiment, you're going to need glasses, and when I'm talking about this sort of glass, so I'm using, as you can see here, quite a large glass. This is a pint glass. You'll notice that I've got some little blobs of blue tack here. They're all roughly the same size and spread out equally all around the sides. The reason for that is because I'm going to, in a minute, take this glass and turn it upside down and place it in this tray of water. Now, there's about 2 centimetres of cold water in here. This is a glass tray, but you can actually use a metal tray, that's fine. Some sort of oven tray is good. You can even do it in a bowl of water, to be honest. When I turn it upside down in there, I want there to be a little bit of a gap around the glass when it's upside down so that water can come in from outside. And you'll notice these blobs are sticking up quite high above the rim here, so that allows the water to go in when it's upside down. You'll see what I mean when I actually do this. You need some hot water. Now, you've got 2 ways of doing this. Make sure the water is hot enough so you can still touch it, but as hot as you can bear it without actually burning yourself. Now, there's 2 ways, as I've said. One is to have a washing up bowl like this, full of water, and just have the glass under water. Leave it in there for about 5 or 6 minutes so it gets nice and hot. The other way is you can do it like I've done it. I've just poured some hot water in here and I've left it there for a few minutes. Now, this is what I want you to do. Watch carefully. I'm going to take the glass, I'll tell you quickly. I'm going to pour this water out here, and I'm going to lower the glass quickly but evenly down into this water here. And when you do that, as you're doing it, I want you to watch really carefully the level of water that I'm going to trap inside the glass. Watch it really carefully and watch it for a minute or 2 once you've lowered the glass to see what happens. So this is what you should have seen. So, how can the level of water come up a little bit inside the glass? Now, on this particular version, because I only showed you it for a few seconds really, or a minute or so, it hasn't come up very much yet. But if we were to leave that for much longer, so that the glass cooled right down to room temperature, that level will likely come up a bit more. Okay, but why is it doing that? Well, we had hot water, remember, in this glass, the way I showed you at the start. So the glass itself was hot, it was full of hot water too. When I poured the water out, for a little while there was hot air in that glass because of course the glass would have heated it up. I then turned the glass and put it upside down into the water, as you saw. Now, the warmer air inside the glass took up more room. So when we heat anything up, or most things, air especially, metals and things like that, when we heat them up, they take up more space. So that air that was being warmed by the hot glass when I poured the water out was taking up more space. And some of it escaped. We couldn't have seen it, but it was being pushed out. I then lowered the glass into the water, and then the air started cooling. And as it was cooling down, it started shrinking again. And as it was shrinking, of course, it would take up less room. But that room has to be filled by something. So the pressure of the air surrounding us in this room would have been pushing down on the surface of the water around it, and would have been pushing so that the water around it was flowing in under the glass and up inside to take up the room that was left by the shrinking air. And that's why the water level rose. Now, it didn't rise very much on this one. One of the reasons it didn't rise very much is because I didn't leave it very long from when I poured the water out. Okay, some things you can try. In this experiment, you noticed, I hope, that when I showed you, I poured the water out and very quickly took the glass and lowered it into the tray of water, but I did it fairly quickly. Doing it quickly meant that that space inside the glass didn't have that much time to warm up because of the hot glass around it. So here's an interesting thing. What do you think might happen if you were to take the glass out and just hold it for a few more seconds before you lower the glass into the water? Remembering that if you hold it a few seconds, there's a good chance that that glass will heat the air up inside a bit more. There's a good clue there. What about trying different size glasses? Obvious thing to do, isn't it? If you try, I'll give you a clue here as well. Even if you use the same volume glass, remember this is a pint glass, if you could find a glass that was thinner, narrower, you would see a bigger difference in how high the water travels. Okay, so that's something you'll find it easier to see, actually. That's another thing you can try. But I'm sure you can think of some other things too.